Hey, this is Aaron Price. It's great to be back live and looking at you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are. Exciting session today. I'm here with the chairman of the board and the founding member of Amplo Global, Andy Bhattacharya. Andy, really great to see you. This is the first live session I've done in a while since we're back from the summer, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. How's everything going?
Going great. Thank you for the opportunity here to speak with you.
Where are you actually physically set up right now?
In Piscataway, New Jersey.
For those who may not be local, Piscataway is in New Jersey. And Amplo is also a New Jersey company, is it not?
Yeah, it's a New Jersey-based company. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of Jersey pride today, which is great. So can you tell people, I know the business is quite sophisticated. So let's start with, what does Amplo do? What is the product?
So we have a risk management, it's a platform. It's an AI-based, machine learning-based platform. So we basically simulate and model any strategic initiatives before you actually launch the initiative. And then we also remeasure and optimize that initiative after the program is almost done, if you want to measure that avatar, the ROIs, and the other things. So before and after, we're a simulation optimization tool.
This sounds, highly technical, and I know there are a lot of buzzwords that surround, Amplo and the industry overall. So help me on some, a practical example. What kind of a simulation, have you run lately that people could relate to?
Absolutely. So one of the simulations we have lately run, I will pick on a sustainability example, where how green building or biophilic strategy can really help the quality of a product. So we have run, we have taken certain variables in our models, like sun rays coming into the factory, air quality, temperature, and it actually affects the brittleness or the readiness of a bar to be shipped. So we are talking about an organization based out of California. So they make athlete bars, Cliff Bar, and that's something we have modeled that, okay, how much the sun rays should come in, how much green the environment has to be, how much organic it has to be to impact the quality of a bar. So it's a sustainability and manufacturing coming together.
So you run the model to play out different scenarios to optimize basically the process, the manufacturing process, to make sure it's most efficient. Is that right?
And once we run the model, implementation may be done by the organization itself or another consulting firm. We are a product firm. A consulting firm can come in and help that organization to implement that. So we don't do implementation. We model, we frame, and we recommend.
And so let's, I've heard this referred to as Industry 4.0 with a heavy focus on sustainability. So why is sustainability now, both important and also being paid attention to?
So great question. So there are 4 pillars to this. So one is the fourth revolution, which is your connected products, connected operations, connected data, and connected experience. Experience is very key. So that's your fourth revolution, how we define fourth revolution. It's all connected. The second thing is manufacturing being there as a cost center. There's a huge appetite to make itself a profit center. That's an important aspect. The third is the sustainability angle of that manufacturing, because sustainability is basically not only giving back to the environment, but also to give back to the environment, your own manufacturing with the 4 walls should follow certain things like fresh water withdrawal, worker safety, carbon emission strategies, which basically becoming a part of manufacturing. And this is also becoming a branding challenge and acceptance for an organization in the ecosystem. So that's where the fourth revolution, marketing, sustainability, manufacturing, all coming together now, especially post pandemic.
So how does it seems like this cost center has a hard time becoming a revenue center. How does Amplo play a role in that equation? Maybe I missed something there.
Great question. So to become from a cost to a profit center, there are a couple of ways of doing it. One is you impact the profitability margin of the company because your bottom line is overall. And then you also can create revenue models as a cost center to generate revenue for your cost center when you become self-sufficient, which is your profit center. So what we do there, we measure the readiness. Does the organization has the capability to move from cost to profit? What kind of change management do you need? Are you really digitally connected? Are you really accepting robots in the floor? If robots coming, how do you reskill the workers who were working before the robots came in? So we measure that capability and make the organization more ready for Industry 4.0.
And does this come to life as a live dashboard? Let's use the pharma industry as an example. In fact, we have a speaker at Propelify this year, the founder of Capsule. It's pharmacy delivery to your door, and I'm reminded of it because I know the intense automation that they have behind the scenes to make that happen, and it's driven around efficiency and sustainability. So, but thinking about the pharma industry overall, is the idea that a pharmaceutical company might be able to log into a dashboard and get a live view into their.
I'm going to take 60 seconds to explain this. Hopefully, 60 seconds, right? So, let's take an example where pharma industry is going a heavy revolution is supply risk. So some companies who are making vaccines locally in New Jersey are actually outsourcing it to the tier 1 suppliers. So how do you measure this risk? Organizations, are they ready as an OEM? Are they ready to work with the tier 1s? Should they only source to one tier 1, or they should give the recipe to multiple tier 1s and then find out who is actually fulfilling more? These are all business scenarios. Now, if you want to model this, and you want to say, hey, I need to hire a director. I'm just making this up right now. It's actually a real case too for us. I would like to hire a director of supply chain who will just do supply risk analysis. Even to get that budget from your CXO, you need to build that case. You need to make sure that that capability is not there. Or it can also happen that there's some daily dashboards missing, as you mentioned, to really see which supplier will be blacklisted, which supplier will be doing good with them. And how do we do all this? So we take data from downstream systems, okay? We buy data from outside, like IQVIA, HIMSS, Quintiles, and others. And we take an empathy into a platform, and we actually take this 3-point data and massage it and give you an output and say, you know what? You should hire this director because this will be an area where you would be investing around $5 million in the next 3-4 years. So that you have a real profitability, you need someone to really, it's a good investment by you. Supply risk.
It's really fascinating. And I know there's also an issue around discrete and continuous manufacturing. And so how do they differ when it comes to sustainable manufacturing?
So in a discrete manufacturing, if you take pharma again, generally they have a consumer health sector. The consumer health will have like over-the-counter medicines, which are generally commercial recipes. So in that, if you take that manufacturing, they have solid inventory points. You exactly know what the products are coming out. When you take a pharma, where the vaccines or the biotechs are coming out, they're much more process, which is continuous manufacturing. That's the difference between discrete, where you have inventory points and you know exactly what products are coming out. And process, sometimes you don't know if A is going in to come out as A or A1, A2, A3, or B, C, D. You don't know. So that's the difference between discrete and process, where process is continuous, discrete has inventory points.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think in sustainability, both of them are crucial, because discrete, it's a little easier to manage, not very easy, but easier to manage for doing compliance and GXPs of the world. Good manufacturing practice, good clinical practice, so we call GXP. And for process, it's a little complicated because you have a continuous manufacturing, and it's very hard to take a sample and say, okay, I think A will come out as we plan for A to come out. So, but both are very important to be sustainable, to be green, to be environment friendly in the manufacturing.
I think, as you know, we focus on companies that are best of breed, not necessarily best in New Jersey, but I think you happen to be one of the best in New Jersey. And so I'm wondering, you brought up the point about the pandemic, and has Amplo played a role in any of the deployment of any of the vaccines? I'm curious.
A short answer, yes. So there is an organization in the tri-state area. They are a supplier for Johnson and Johnson. So we actually helped them to what they call is invoice to build. So tier ones, which is going to these OEMs, they would only start manufacturing when the invoice of that process is paid. So it's very unique how the demand pegging, supply pegging happens. So yes, short answer, we have helped a tier one supplier to manage the relationship with the forward OEMs and manage their readiness to supply the vaccines with faster speed. So we have done some optimization both in manufacturing and logistics.
So that's a perfect tie into the next question about how does a company measure where they stand and their maturity in this, and basically, when should they engage with you? When are they potentially, is it too late?
So it's never too late. It's better late than never, right? So the thing that I will mention is at any point of time, the organization can come on our platform. We buy data from outside on the similar industry sectors, and then we have systems data that allow the organizations to upload. And they always can take a quick point view and say, okay, as of October 2021, I see that how I have done in the last 9 months, okay, and what I should do in November, December, January based on the market demand. So since we are buying the data from outside, we're taking data from inside. We are continuously doing some regression modeling and neural networks modeling in our platform. And we are basically bringing an simulation before, during, or after the program is going on. It's always for continuous improvement. There's no late to be on our platform because you always can continuously improve on our platform.
I'm curious how mature you find. I know you work with some big corporations, and this is advanced technology, and I'm curious, do you find people are educated on the space and eager for solutions, or does it take a significant, as you could probably tell, I'm still learning this space myself, so this is, it's interesting for me to hear about it. But I am curious, when you walk in the door, are people ready to go, or is, partly I'm curious how it affects the sales cycle, but also just the maturity of the industry, and is the world ready for this?
This is very esoteric. I completely agree with you, because in the last 40 years, how the pharma industry or distribution industry or industrial manufacturing industry or any industry has always, either they have an internal corporate strategy group with Excel, PowerPoint, and Word documents, or they will have an extended consulting arm to come in and do this work. Now, what we are not only a startup or a boutique, we are also a disruptive boutique, because we are bringing a concept in the strategy and simulation and operation space, strategy and operation space, that you actually can simulate this as if you are the Tom Cruise of Minority Report, that you exactly know what's going to happen in future. So, and that's only possible is because you have enough data with what you have not nurtured yet. You have significant data. So data have been proven to be very helpful downstream when we do transactional analytics and others. What we are bringing in the market is data are very helpful in strategy also, which was dominated by consulting firms and not a product like ours. So it is important to realize, what's that?
No, keep going. Go ahead.
That's where the space is very esoteric. It is when we enter into a customer feed or customer zone or prospect talking starts, we generally say, we don't say that we have a platform where we do simulations with AI. It's a big thing, right? It's a big, bold commitment. What we start with is, hey, where is your problem? Who is working on this problem? Have you done anything with this problem? Have you solved the problem? Or have you defined the problem well? Do you know the problem? Have you benchmarked it? If the problem is, do you know if the problem is because you don't have the right capability? That's how we start.
I'm curious, I think that's the best way to start when you're looking to, to basically to sell and build a relationship. But you're reminding me of a point that I've recognized lately with other founders and even within our own organization. How do you disarm a prospect to get them to share authentically what their real problems are? Because I have found that, maybe you'll disagree here, that sometimes they're not aware or not very forthcoming. And either or both of those are a bit of a problem when you're trying to help solve the problem.
Beautiful, because we find this challenge almost every day, Aaron. So what we start with, we call digital adoption strategy, which is by design thinking. There's an element called design thinking. Again, it's very esoteric, very specific, which is basically helping you to really accept that you need a change, which is the toughest thing in the world. Once you need the change, you need an adoption. You need a team to bring this change. And to bring this change, you need to be crawl, walk, run, continuous improvement. You may sometimes be disruptive. So we start with design thinking. And to the listeners today, I would really expect that what we have seen and what we want to bring to the ecosystem is non-linearity, which means that the linear thinking has been great. Okay, you do step by step. Here is your mantra in a chaos. Here is your framework. You will do great. You'll come out of the chaos. The strategy is chaos. But during that chaos, let's be non-linear. And what non-linearity means, Aaron, is I can start with design thinking and really found out the problem I was thinking is completely different now. I actually can say, hey, you know what, Andy? I know the problem. I don't want to start with design thinking. I will just benchmark myself where I stand and then figure out with that benchmarking where they want to design things. So to answer your question is, yeah, it's to really elicit or make somebody to speak. We have a tool called design thinking within the platform. And we work with the leaders to bring the problem out. Problem framing is we have steps. We have steps, which includes technical and emotional aspect, both to bring the problem out.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Knowing that you're working with bigger corporations and getting buy-in over a long period of time, I think it's a really smart approach. I'm also, as our role as being an organization that brings together other entities, we could talk about this offline, but I want to make sure you're connected to Apprentice.io, another New Jersey-based company that might be very complementary to what you're offering. So I'm not sure if they're on your radar, but that's the magic, I think, of what Tech United is about, is bringing together sometimes non-obvious or just people who aren't connected. And so I'm eager to make that happen. And you'll be also at Propelify as an exhibitor
Absolutely.
this year, which we are very, very excited about.
Thank you.
Who should, are you hiring? Who should come see you? Who do you want to make sure you get in front of for those who are listening and hopefully joining us in 3 weeks from today, actually?
Exactly. So yes, absolutely. If people would like to know about our platform, as Aaron, you pointed out very well, that it's a new space we are creating within strategy and operations with a product. So I would love to present the platforms. Anybody who is interested to join us, Amplo Global, any PhDs, masters, undergrads from Rutgers and any place in New Jersey, any experienced person. We are hiring both from a vertical perspective in pharma and also horizontally who has some data background. And then also champions like the organizations are part of Tech United, who are really wanting to do something different post-pandemic, be effective, really solve the problem, and then be resilient. That's where we come into play. Being resilient, right? How do you know that you would not do this mistakes? Not mistakes, but you would be able to face the pandemic much better than next time. Yeah. And supply chain is in a big chaos right now. So yeah, I mean, anyone. So we have a 3+1 strategy. So we are a horizontal platform. So we have right now in the last 2-3 years, we're focused on supply chain, sustainability, and channel strategy. And the one is we also do tech debt analysis. So with AWS as one of our customers, so for them to sell their high-end cloud products. So we have a 3+1 in this conversation. We are picking on 3, which is sustainability supply chain channel. So anybody has issues to really figure out how 2022 looks like, or even existing programs going on, needs optimization, container is not loading, you're paying a lot of money for the shipment. We do before and after simulations and optimization. So it would be great to have them in the booth.
Awesome. And lastly, I think that I didn't launch Propelify because of New Jersey, but the Tech United role has leaned us obviously heavily focused around the region, and I felt like there's a real shift in momentum, which really creates a lot of opportunity. And I'm seeing more corporates get involved, more companies get funded, more investors either set up shop, and one's going to announce another one's announcing later this week. But more that's happening here. And love New York, love California, and the rest of them. To me, it's not competitive, but I do think there's something in the air here, and I'm wondering if you see the same thing, or is it just because I sit in the in the seat of Tech United New Jersey?
No, I mean of course it's a global play now, right? I think your question is this beyond New Jersey? Is that your question?
And is there more momentum here than had been before?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. I think there's always our life is sinusoidal, right? It goes up and down. So now we are in a mode where we have more demand than supply, so-called. So no, absolutely, it's a great time for us to be optimistic, be bullish, and we are getting use cases and scenarios to simulate and optimize, be ready for tomorrow, save cost, be moved from cost center to profit center, as I mentioned, almost every day. So we are seeing a lot of movement, and I have to thank Tech United as well, because your global branding, as I call it, global seems global but local, right? Local, global. So your global branding is really, really very helpful for us too. So I really thank you for that opportunity.
Well, it's with the collective support, so we very much appreciate your involvement. But I think to your point, and hopefully it was clear, we look at, as industries are disrupted, as the world is invented and driven by technology, we want those things to be happening locally, affecting the world. And we're seeing more and more of that happen here, going outward, not necessarily, it's not a small ball game. And, the pandemic, I think, has been an interesting, it's opened up a lot of opportunity. We've leaned in more for things like this that, have a local flavor, but a global opportunity. So I genuinely appreciate you joining us today. This will be our first live event in what feels like a decade, but in a while. And we do a lot of high-fiving there, so we can practice now digitally on a count of 3. High five your camera with me. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Everybody check out Amplo Global. Come say hi to Andy at Propelify 3 weeks from today. If you haven't registered yet, make sure you do that. There's a lot of places, if you follow us on social, to even get a free ticket. Andy, we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. And everybody, keep following us, and we got more of these coming.
Be safe. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks.
Bye.